book review, and this is Hands Off by Major Fairbairn. If you are familiar with this channel or Arbud as an actual dojo group, you will know we are big fans of the work of Lee Morrison from Urban Combatives. Do check out his work. Lee Morrison was heavily influenced by Fairbairn and Sykes, so this is kind of a cool thing for me. This obviously is not an original edition print, which would be cool if I could get hold of one of those, but it is cool that I've got a book by Fairbairn, knowing that this guy had such an influence on Lee Morrison, and Lee Morrison's stuff certainly has influenced me. Unlike a lot of people out there, I'm quite upfront when I do stuff. I will tell you, this is something I've nicked off Lee Morrison. I will tell you, and I will link Lee Morrison stuff in the description of my videos if it's Lee Morrison stuff that I've nicked. There's a lot of people out there nicking Lee Morrison stuff. I'm not giving him credit for it. But anyway, that's the nature of the beast, unfortunately. The book, it's quite basic, it's quite simple, it's very thin, but it's very much this type of stuff. Yeah. It is a product of its time, written in the 50s. But again, it goes over stuff that is it's worth, if you're into your self-defense, you will know that self-defense is essentially very basic building blocks. If you think of building a house, you're going to use bricks, and those bricks are going to be laid in essentially the same manner regardless. The only thing that might change is the size of the brick and the shape of the finished product. Think of that all in the same way as your self-defense techniques. So the concept of self-defense is to avoid if we can, or if we can't avoid, we need to escape. Our whole objective is to get away from the danger as quickly as possible. If we cannot avoid, and we need to start working on our escape, we need to create brain shake to cause a knockout so we can run. That's the objective. The concept is to create brain shake, whether it be an open hand under the chin, whether it be a clenched fist to the side of the jaw. Don't advocate clenched fists. Whether it be a palm strike to the head, whether it be an elbow shot, whether it be a knee, whether you can throw somebody quickly enough that you create a whiplash effect and send them looping, hit the deck with enough force that you do, whatever it might be. The concept is create the brain shake however we can create the brain shake. With that in mind, the stuff in here is worth seeing and worth looking at. I'm somewhat of a historian. I love looking at the old 30s, 40s, 50s black and white self-defense, where it's always somebody with a really plumb posh. The man tries to grab your handbag. Oh, you must send him on his way with a quick flurry and a quick knock on the noggin. He'll not do that in a hurry, I'll wager. I love that type of stuff because it's history. It's what it was. We look at that stuff and we giggle and we chuckle. We have to know that if everything keeps going, in 50, 60 years' time, people will look back on the videos we're doing now. Hi, future people, and they'll chuckle as well. Okay, that's it. But to know that this stuff existed in the way it did back then, the matchbox defense. I've got to find it because there was one in here. I'm sure it was something called Theatre Hands, and it was about theatre hold. What a great thing that is. So it's basically if you're in the theatre with your date and the gentleman decides he's got wandering hands, here's what you must do. Give him a sound thrashing. I mean, I love this stuff. I mean, it's kind of, it's not kitsch really, is it? It's not camp, but it's funny as hell. But it's also, we've got to take into account that it works. The stuff that's shown here works. Again, the UK price on the back of this is $5.99 from NM Archive, which I believe is Naval Military Press Associated, down here, navalmilitarypress.com. Check out for their other books. As with most of the stuff on here, I got this secondhand. I got it cheap. I didn't pay full price. No reason for you to either. I don't believe there's a hope in hell that your library is going to be able to get hold of a copy of this for you. So that's probably not going to work. do support your local library. With all the other books here, if they take your fancy, go and ask the library if they can get you the copies of them first, because they should do. Just with the nature of what this is, I don't think many libraries in Britain are gonna have this. I got it for £1.50. I've just realised the price tag is on the front there. So the actual price is £5.99. I got it for £1.50. There's always ways around. It is a good book. If you can get a hold of a copy of it, it is absolutely 100% worth getting hold of. See, I love this stuff. I love this. How to do the chin jab. That should be your basic hand. So Lee Morrison's always said, imagine you're holding a decent sized grapefruit. Boom! There's the man himself teaching you how to do it. So, in conclusion, it's not the most thorough self-defense book. It's not going to go over a whole host of things. It doesn't claim that it's doing that. But if you're into your history of this stuff like I am, it's definitely worth having. But for pure self-defense, stuff that you'll find in here, you can find more in-depth versions of, with a fuller scope of techniques, in other books. So if you're into it, get it. If you don't get it, you're not really missing out.